Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I'm here at the January 2025 Metal Investor Forum in Vancouver. Today I'm with Morgan Poliquin. Morgan is the CEO of Almadex Minerals, a company that I follow and own. Almadex is a very interesting deal. It's been around for a while, and thanks to some smart deals and some royalty deals done back in the day. Almadex has got a very strong working capital position, 15 million plus. The market cap's 10, so it's basically trading at a discount to its cash, and you're basically getting the exploration play for free. And Morgan and his team have picked up several projects in the western U.S. They're looking for porphyries, and I'm just going to get Morgan to walk us through. What are you guys going to be doing this year? You've got how many projects? Quite a few, right? They're all staked too. They're not
Staked,
options.
yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for that, Eric. Nice to be here. We have basically put together a very large kind of conceptual exploration program following very belts that we've defined in-house that have potential for porphyry deposits. And we were really delighted to be able to find along these trends about a dozen projects that we've staked, and we've advanced about half of those to kind of close to or at the drill stage. Some of them we have drill permits on, still conducting geophysics and moving them along, but we want to systematically explore them aggressively and use the capital that we have, as you described, along with our diamond drill capacity to go and test these things, do first pass drilling, and systematically move through this portfolio.
Yeah, and that's one other aspect of Almadex is you've been set up as essentially a drill contractor for years, so you've got half dozen of your own drill rigs. So your per meter cost is probably pretty low compared to a lot of your competition.
Yeah, we got our own drills, kind of born out of necessity. I think it might even be as long as 20 years ago. We were working in Mexico at the time, and there wasn't a drill available, so we got a drill and went through some growing pains with that for sure. But we ultimately trained local guys on a project we're operating at with 4 drills, and we got 70 guys drilling, and we found that we could drill extremely inexpensively. It depends on how easy the drilling is. People often ask me how cheaply you can drill, but it varies from project to project. But it not only gives you that cost effectiveness, but it also allows you to be kind of, to decide that you're going to drill one hole and do a kind of contract you couldn't do with a drill contract, or just test a theory. And I think the earlier you drill, even if you're not successful, it's critical to kill properties very early if you can, so you don't waste any more time on them rather than romancing them with expensive stuff for years. Or get some geological information that can confirm the concept.
Yeah, that's one thing. You've got a reputation for not getting stuck on projects, and I guess shareholders or potential shareholders have to understand that you're not going to not going to sing them a bunch of happy tunes. You're a guy that likes to kill projects, which I personally think is the way to go. You've got a dozen projects, and when you're working on stuff this early, you need to be able to walk away from it. If it's not working out, you need to be able to focus on the ones that are working. And I guess the idea is because of your own rigs and everything, you're able to actually drill pretty early. A lot of companies, they might spend years doing, targeting before they put a drill on a property. But it sounds to me like your idea is you want to get a rig on these projects fairly quick, and either, you're either onto something, or you walk away and move on to the next one.
I think that's critical, and if the riskiest stage is in the cycle of exploration, I think is the initial drilling. and people tend to put that off because it's very expensive, and maybe they have other reasons. They want to romance it more for other reasons. From our point of view, is we know how to find these things, put these concepts together, and that's fairly inexpensive to do. The preliminary work of sampling and defining a target, often kills a lot of things very early on. And once you're through that first threshold where you've proven that, in our case, chasing the level above which a porphyry forms, is you typecast that a porphyry did form this kind of alteration. There is a porphyry here. We just don't know if it's too deep, too low grade, faulted off, all those kind of things. So we've already kind of categorized our typecast that the target is something particular. In this case, one of the biggest deposit types out there. And then the idea is, well, let's put a hole in that can prove the concept, can hopefully hit. You're always exposing yourself to discovery with one hole. And I agree, the sooner you, since we can generate a lot of these ideas, the sooner you eliminate the ones where they aren't there, the sooner you get to finding the thing you're looking for.
Well, and you mentioned that you've staked 12, I think you said 12 projects. So what is your criteria? I mean, what do you when the stuff that you're staking, what is it that you're targeting? What defines an area as something you want to stake and take a look at?
Well, what worked for us in Mexico, which led me to chase this idea elsewhere, is the idea that there are porphyry deposits occur along very particular belts. For example, in the Andes, not to become too esoteric, but in the Andes you might have tens of millions of years where there was volcanic activity, but very short period of time, maybe 1 million years of that 40 million years, say, is where you have these very special events happen, these porphyries. So once you know the age of that, you can put dots on a line and go in between the dots and along that trend. And so what we're looking for is, we're in an arid environment, and above porphyries or around porphyries, maybe laterally, they're pumping up so much fluid above where the copper forms that fluid, if it interacts with a volcanic rock, for example, it bakes it into a big pile of clay.
Right.
And historically, I think in American exploration, those big piles of clay, they're being so focused, in my opinion, on near surface oxide, heap leachable gold, for example, and their porphyries, big historic porphyries, are all sort of exposed things, like
right.
Whether it's Morenci in Arizona or Bingham Canyon. And so there hasn't been a lot of work at drilling deep under these, what we call porphyry lithocaps. And that is the exploration that's being conducted around the world. If you look at the big discoveries, NGEX, well, they're not in a lithocap per se, but they're just above the porphyry in the phyllic zone. Drilling deep in porphyries
right.
is what people are doing. And I think that has been largely overlooked in the United States for a variety of reasons. So we've found this belt, and we're using, I think, high science, tectonics and whatnot to have identified this belt. And then we found these big piles of clay, call it,
right.
Along the belt. And in some cases, we're finding historic copper mining at surface in these things. And because the trends cut across gold trends that are a different age and unrelated, I think these areas have been completely overlooked for this copper gold potential.
Right.
So that's why we're able to stake them. And of course, we aren't, if it was exposed at surface and there was a Bingham Canyon there, it would be a big pit.
Yeah.
So we are looking for something that is beneath this clay.
Right.
But that being said, in some cases around the world, the porphyry is right up underneath the clay. In other cases, it's some distance away. So
right.
Those are the risks that we're taking, but it's the biggest prize there is.
Right. And so you're basically trying to find these things where they aren't too deep. I mean, what would you consider too deep? I mean, how deep are you guys willing to go with the drilling to test for these things?
Well, I saw that Agnico has put 25 million into a project in the Andes where they've made a discovery. I think it's about 700 meters down.
Okay.
Now that's at 5,000 meters in the Andes. A big discovery made by Vale in Indonesia is again, I think around 700 meters down, but it was 3 billion tons.
Right.
Resolution is in Arizona, and it's a BHP RTZ consortium, and again about 3 billion tons, and it's down, I think more than that, a kilometer.
About a kilometer, I think. Yeah.
So, hopefully we're going to find things
Yeah.
closer to surface, so just a little scab of this alteration we get into them. But my belief is if you are going to find a block ton, block caveable, huge porphyry that is a kilometer deep, if that's
Right.
what we find, which would be wonderful, the Western United States is where you want to find that.
Right.
You don't want to find it at 5,000 meters in the Andes if you have the choice of finding it in Arizona or Nevada.
Okay. So what can we look forward to this year in terms of work and news flow? I mean, what will we be seeing?
Well, we've just sort of assembled this portfolio. We've been talking about advancing it. We're assembling the claim packages, and so this year we're going to have a lot of news come out on what we have done. With a lot of surface work, geophysics, and we're going to drill at least one of these things this year, and hopefully more. So we're just going to systematically move through the portfolio over the next little while, and some of them need a bit more work, but the intention is for them all to get preliminary first pass drilling.
Okay. There you have it. Almadex Minerals, DEX on the venture. Like I said, it's basically trading at less than its cash balance, so you're basically getting a free ride on a big discovery program. And keep in mind, this is with a team that has actually made several discoveries in the past. So I mean, these guys have got a track record of finding this kind of stuff. I think it's a great story, and I think if you're looking for a discovery play, I think Almadex is a really, really good one. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much for having me, Eric.